Whew. Well, the old vintage cafe racer over there decided it wanted to shut down on me while I was riding a couple days ago. So I'm gonna have to get it up here in the race trailer, so I got lights and tools and whatnot to work on it. I had to push all the way over here through the yard, which ain't great, but it doesn't want to start, so tis what tis, right? So I got to push it up in here, and then, well, alright, so I got the lights on, and then we'll get it up in here and get the battery charger on it for start. That wasn't the issue when I was riding. I left the key on when I got it here, because I had the blinker on so nobody would run me over. It shut down within a mile of my house. I just pushed it home. So I'm going to get it up in here. The big issue though is I'm supposed to be at a riding event in like 3 days. And right now I don't exactly know what's wrong. I think I know what's wrong, but I don't know what's wrong. So I think it's a carb issue. It kind of sounded like when I was riding it, like the bowls on the left bank. So we're running a quad carb, obviously. You can see this side, this left bank. I feel like they weren't filling properly. Sometimes it sounded like they were firing, sometimes it didn't, which means it might just be a tuning issue. So what I need to do is get this up in there, probably get the tank off, get an alternative fuel supply set up above it, so that way I can feed the bike but have access to the top of the carbs, and then probably check my vacuum syncing. What I think happened is, I think when I originally synced these, I didn't tighten the bolt down on top, so I can reach in there right now and spin this, and yeah, there might have been that nut right there I didn't think I ever tightened. So what could have happened is I could have simply rotated out of tune while I've ridden it a few times, but the only real way to know is to get it in there and essentially go through these carbs and see how they're set up, or see, vacuum sync them essentially. They make a fancy specialty tool to vacuum sync them. I'm not going to use it. I'm essentially going to take all the screws out of there and sync the whole thing as one. And then once I put all the screws back in and it no longer has that vacuum leak, it's obviously going to be a little off, and I will adjust my my throttle here across the board. But the goal here is to get them all synced with each other and then go from there. So yeah, time to get it pushed up in the race trailer and get it working on it. Now, if you're not aware and you haven't watched the other videos on this, this is a Honda CB750K1 71, I believe. I don't know, I got quite a few projects, I kind of lose track of them. I'm not doing great in heat. I have issues from the military where I overheat easily. We're up in the 90s here. I live in Ohio. I live here, so it's not supposed to get this hot, but here I am. All right, so again, the next thing I want to do is get this tank off of there, and that'll give us some access to tops of those carbs, make it easier, and then we can go from there. For some reason, if I come down here, for some reason, brand new bowl, it's rusting. It's frustrating. That's brand new. So I'm not happy about that. Is that the new one? Yeah, it's brand new. So I don't know what's up with that. Actually, if I look at it, looks like I got rust back in there too. So that's something I might need to look into. Kind of looks like it's something going on there. I don't know if it's fuel leaking or what. So we'll get in there and check that. That wasn't like that before. So again, the big thing right now is get the tank off, just so I have access. All this would be it. Oh look, I didn't tighten that one down on the top either. So that's likely my issue here. You can see that I can just easily rotate all those, and that's how we adjust our adjust everything. So yeah, that's probably the issue. I'd say that's most likely the issue. So yeah, let's get this off here, get everything zeroed out, and go from there. Yeah. All right. So as you can see, my bike's in a million pieces again. It shut down on me the other day on the way home, and I was about half a mile from home, so I just pushed it home. But I found out it's because I am an idiot. Now what happened was, essentially when I tuned it last, right here's your tuning screws on these old Honda CB750s, the early ones. This is a K1, and here's your adjustment. Okay, got to sync your carbs like this. Then you got to lock those screws down so they don't move. I forgot to lock the screws down, put it together, went riding on it. Made it about 200 miles, and it shut down on me, so that's wonderful. But anyways, it's back in here. I'm going through and redoing all my carb work, trying to get it dialed back in. But I wanted to kind of show this little gas tank setup I had, because last time I did this, I really struggled with fuel, okay? I struggled to get fuel to the bike, and I essentially just took like a water bottle and kept dumping fuel into the fuel line, so it would only start up and run for a moment, and then I'd have to shut it back off. But I got smart this time, okay? I went to Menards, and I went and picked up, I think this was 5 foot of line, 5 foot of fuel line, and it's back there in their plumbing section. And I picked up 2 of these little splits. That's it. Okay, shoved them in there, ran the lines up there, threw this up on a pair of chairs that were higher than everything else, and essentially I was able to keep the fuel tank hooked up and just keep running it off the tank without doing a bunch of fancy stuff, okay? And so that's what I'm going to encourage. Seen where people have put the tank like on the back and then ran different lines down. I've seen where all sorts of things. But you already got to detach those to get the tank off, and then this is just a good way to get it out of the way so you can work on it. This is really important because you got to be able to get in here. Oh, not those screws to get your vacuum reading. So, you know, kind of important to get it up in the air. What I'm doing then is I'm starting it up. This needs to be plugged. You're going to be all over the place with your idle. I'm setting it at, I think, 2,000 RPM is what I'm going to go for. And then I'm going to take that vacuum gauge, stick it on there, get a reading, write it on the board, which all that stuff's from last year race season, so I probably should erase most of that. But I'll get it written up there on the board, and then put the screw in, go to the next one, go to the next one. I'm going to have to come up with a reading that I would be happy with across the board. And right now I don't know what that is, will be at. They say that there's no like real reading you have to get it to. I don't know, I think I measured the one that was bouncing between 20 and 25 centimeters. Is right where I was at on this far right one. And that was just a quick reading to see where it's at. The big thing is that your vacuum across all the carbs is the same. That's the biggest thing. So once I come up with something, because these early carbs don't have a reference carb. If you do a later model, there will be a carb that doesn't have an adjustment on it, and that'll be your reference carb. The early 750Ks, 750K1 is what this is, but the early 750s for Honda, they don't have a reference carb. So you're going to have to create one. You're going to have to choose a carb base off to. Some places will tell you, take all your measurements, take the 2 that are closest together and get the other 2 closest to it. I don't really think so, okay? Get a reading that you're happy with. I'm going to use that 25 just to be happy, where it's bouncing up to 25. I'm going to set all my carbs at that, and then the big thing is make sure it's staying at 2,000 RPM. As you adjust your carbs, it's going to fluctuate, so you're going to have to raise or lower your idle screw. But I'm going to set everything at bouncing up to 25 cubic centimeters. Is it cubic centimeters? What's the measurement on here? Yeah, cubic centimeters. Yeah. Anyways, I'm going to go to 25 on my reading and see where it's at. If it's running a little rough, then I'll adjust it. I'll raise all of them. But that's essentially where I'm at right now. I also took the seat completely off for right now. And it's because I think I'm going to repaint some of the parts on this bike. I never wanted this bike to be black and red. When I bought it, all the parts were already black and red. I don't really like it. I want to go with like a cream vintage race bike look. Only thing that's kept me from doing it so far is the fact that the frame's red, because it's kind of not going to match if I do cream on everything else. But I think I'm just going to do it and then evaluate the red frame later, because honestly I'm not a black and red kind of person. I want it to look like a vintage race bike. So I think that's what I'm going to go with, is repaint all this here soon and see how it comes out. But right now, got to tune it. Alright, so I tuned it just like what we talked about. I went actually up to 2,500 RPMs, which kind of leveled out that bouncing needle. And then I went to 18 to 22 and did that for all the carbs. I don't know if I'm exactly happy with it right now, but the reality is I have to go to an event right now. I have to go to an event right now. So I gotta jump on this thing and get going. We're gonna see if it runs good. If it doesn't, then I guess I'm stranded and I'll jump on the back of the wife's bike and it'll be great, right? So yeah, I guess let's go. If you need more information on tuning the quad carbs, I did a whole video on them. I just forgot to lock my locking nuts. Make sure you don't forget that part. So let's go for a ride. Alright, so the bike ran pretty good. I won't say the word great, okay? It ran pretty good. It is tuned, it is running good. I think I'm just going to go off right here on a limb and say that those filters, I think they're just cheapos. I didn't buy them, they came on the bike. I think they're just some cheapo Amazon filters. I could be wrong, but I don't think they're creating enough vacuum. I think I need a little bit more vacuum to be pulling fuel more precisely. But that being said, I can work on an intake later. It doesn't run too bad, okay? It really runs fine, but I want to eventually run this bike in some vintage hill climb style road races. For that reason, I need it to run perfect, and we're not there yet. But a lot of that's probably a me issue. I've synced the carbs to each other. I haven't necessarily synced the vacuum to a, whatever you want to call it, a prime vacuum level. Not that I'm seeing that out there, but I'm sure if I talk to some people that are racing these, I can find that information out. So at this point, I really want to repaint it. I don't want it to look like this. I've removed all the decals and stuff that the previous owner had on it that I didn't like. Like there was a big, like, I don't remember what the name of it is, the plain decals on it, and it used to have red running through the middle, and I didn't like any of that. So I took all that off. I want to eventually paint it like a cream, orange, and blue. I think it'll look nice, and then do like a worn down vintage race bike look on top of actually racing the thing. So there still are things that I need to do. Okay, I also want to get a vintagier, a more vintage looking mirror. I don't mind that one. It works fine. It doesn't look terrible on there, but of course, if I can make it look more vintage, that'd be great. Also, where the key is, it's like tucked down in here. It's kind of a pain in the butt. I might get rid of that. I'm not sure yet, okay? But I do have to, I still have the plastic covers that go on this side and the other side. So it's just a matter of, do I want to try to paint those and see if I like how they come out in the color that I want? Because if I don't like it, I just go back to a matte black and it'll look fine. But I'm going to make those into number plates and then go from there. But the tune that we did on the bike came out decent. Just remember to lock down your locking screws. That was the only mistake I made. I had the bike tuned already. I didn't lock down my locking screws, and then it led to me essentially breaking down. And then the bike was running rough, and it kept getting a little rougher as we were riding. And then about half a mile from home, it broke down. I decided I was just going to push it home. Probably not the best move, because, you know, I have a trailer right there. I could have just tossed the stuff off of and went and loaded the bike up. Even has motorcycle mounts on it. But, you know, you do what you do, right? I figured that day I was going to push it, and I really shouldn't have. So, yeah. This is our, I think it's 1970, maybe 71. Honda CB750 K1 Cafe Racer that we're essentially going to turn into an actual race bike, a vintage race bike, to run some of the vintage American, well, I don't remember, AMA, the American Motorcycle Association, does a vintage class of racing every once in a while. So still got some things we're going to change out, like taillights and whatnot. Well, not taillights, but blinkers, they're trash. But other than that, I mean, this is what we got. So this is one of our bikes. If you like our projects, make sure you follow the page. We got a bunch of stuff, guys. I mean, here's one of our rainbow holographic bikes. It's been like this for a long time, so it's starting to lose some of that holographic look. We might be redoing that pretty soon here. But you know, we're doing everything from a custom boat. We're going to turn that into a mini yacht, to our normal race projects, or work on the lowrider. So if you like any of those projects, be sure to follow the page. And then yeah, get out there, build cool things. Most importantly, have fun. Okay, make cars fun again. Don't worry about what other people are building. Build what you love, and have a great time doing it.